I think they stacked some charges, some evidence that they really didn't have, hoping to have it afterwards.
Welcome to Pull the Pin Already, a place where average veterans come to share their opinions of the world we live in. We can't guarantee you're going to like our opinions.
But we promise we're going to enjoy giving them to you.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Mike. Let's pull the pin.
Mike?
Woo!
Do you know something, Mike?
What's
I
that?
think I just realized that every time I say I'm Jim, I close my eyes. I don't know why I do that.
Why? Is it in preparation for the Mike? What?
Or maybe I'm not really Jim. What do you want to talk about, Mike?
How about talking about this Breonna Taylor case update?
Yes. Let's talk about that's a good one because I think we're going to see a lot of shifting and switching here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I support the cops. What about you? No.
Well, I don't know anymore.
Oh, really? Oh, do tell.
I don't know anymore. Let's preface this with our usual disclaimer. It's hard to tell what's true anywhere anymore. So based on the information we're giving is where we take our opinions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm going off of. And what I'm hearing is that these cops didn't even have a reason to be there. They were fishing for evidence.
Yeah.
Now, we both know from a law enforcement perspective, like I think you mentioned, you got a warrant for fishing for evidence?
Right. Judge, I'm telling you, I know it's something there. I know.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that just doesn't sound right?
I had it delivered the other day.
Yeah.
I know it's there.
Our source says it's there.
Right.
It's there right now. So, we think.
So what do you think about that? I mean, you think about the levels of either incompetence or corruption, or we're just completely missing the real story that this had to go through for this to be the real story.
I would say it's either definitely one of those two things or a combination of both because like we discussed before, there's too many checks and balances. There's too many levels for that. No, because that means the officers, detectives, whatever, they have to be corrupt, incompetent, and maybe they gave the judge some information that they didn't have, but they made it seem like they had it to the judge. I don't know. But if they would have went on the evidence that we're seeing now and the judge signed off on it, that's saying that what? The judge is incompetent, corrupt. No, it's just too many for me. Too many people involved to be so many corrupt and incompetent people in our law enforcement community. And no, I just can't buy it. I can't buy it. So I would say it's a combination of both. I think they stacked some charges, some evidence that they really didn't have, hoping to have it afterwards.
So, but who do you think they is? Because we get this all the time with the government. Like everyone in the government can't be corrupt and crooked. It's just not practical. I mean,
the investigators, detectives.
So, but do you think the guys kicking down the door didn't know this information?
No, those guys are, I'm not going to say because some of them were charged, a couple of them were charged with, what's that, wonton soup charge, wonton endangerment, right? So some of them got charged.
That was a stray bullet, Mike, come on.
But some of them were charged, they had some charges because of what they did during that act, right? So, but I'm not going to say, I'll say with what we're discussing, those guys pretty much are innocent because they only know, most departments, not everyone, they only know that they have a valid warrant to go and knock down a door at this address. And they just know they were trained.
What do you feel about the body cam, though? I mean, in this day and age, like when do we do no-knock warrants or even warrants without body cam footage? I mean, that's evident. Like that's valuable to the officer. Why wouldn't they have it?
Oh,
that's not an answer.
Oh, do I have to answer that, Your Honor? Listen, I'm not gonna go on I'll say just what I believe. If a department in this day and age, if you can't afford the body cam and you don't request it through some federal program or what have you, to me, nah, you don't want to be, you don't want to be held accountable. You know,
Right.
like when I remember when we had it, because they didn't have cameras back then, but they had the microphone. You know what I mean? And I would proudly wear mine.
Right.
All right, I always liked it because I felt like it kept me out of trouble.
Right.
You
Right.
know, and if you slip and like if you get into a verbal argument with someone, okay, take it. You know,
Right.
that's where that part about you being human, comes in, and you take a reprimand or what have you. But for the departments who are just totally against it, nah, I'm sorry, man.
Well,
I can't support that.
before I take you down another rabbit hole with the mic,
Okay, you gonna drop it?
yeah, no, before I take you down that rabbit hole, some other news I just saw today. I want to say that you brought this point up before. Like the body cam footage is a tool for the officers.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like something that, oh, this is such a burden to have to carry a camera around. No, it's like
right.
evidence. Like even if the guy gets out of the car, shoots me, I mean, that's footage, that's
Yeah,
evidence, that's all kinds of stuff that you can use. So I don't know why a department wouldn't want it
right.
unless maybe there was some nefarious reason, or maybe it's just they feel it's an invasion because they do have foul potty mouths and they don't want to be under investigation all the time. Which is the rabbit hole I was going to take you down. I
Right,
don't know if you
right.
saw on the news that a Florida school resource officer. Did you see that one?
No, I didn't see which one.
Yeah. He was a black guy,
Yeah,
got fired for saying the N word, which was
that's
caught on
that
his
was.
camera or audio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was totally wrong.
I think it was excessive. No, I think it was excessive to fire the guy. Uh, but my point being is that's the extreme opposite of having the body cam footage.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
in today's
because
cancel culture,
yeah, there you
there
go.
would be no police department.
Yeah, that's true. There's already people out there talking about defund the police and not the police officer. I support that, but not the whole police department. But
Right.
that was a little extreme to me.
Right.
And I would say that no matter what race he is, because okay, where's the harm in that? You have people out here that they be physically abusing suspects and kids and whatever, and nothing happens to them, or they get suspended on it. But this
Right.
guy used a foul word, ooh, and now
Mike,
he
Mike,
was fired.
words have power too. They can hurt my feelings. So it's almost like you're stabbing me in the chest with a harsh word. Double stab if it's a big word that I don't understand.
I'm more like I'd rather just double tap. How about
Yeah, there you go.
that?
Yeah, I wish people weren't so snowflake and offended so easily. That'd
Yeah,
probably solve half of this. Because when I hear those cases like that, a guy being fired for that and cameras, I can't help but think back to the days when I was a policeman. And I think we might have talked about it before, but that's a tough job when you have to go and look at a child molester in the face and not want to beat him up. Look at a abused child. Look at a dead body and not take that home with you. But I can remember looking at a dead body, looking at my partner and cracking a joke. Yes, it's inappropriate, but it was also a way to desensitize that emotion that would
hmm
put me into a place of, holy cow, people actually do this stuff to people.
yeah,
So I think people don't consider the psychological, the perspective that officers have to go through. And I think military guys get it because they kind of do the same thing.
yeah.
So I
Well,
think the body cams would be dangerous for that aspect.
yeah, but you're supposed to get training for that.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean? You're supposed to get training for that. So if you're a rookie, I get it, but for our seasoned personnel, no, no, sorry,
Yeah,
no.
you think
And once
you
again, just take it, get the reprimand. That's going to help you.
right,
That's going to help you remember the next time. It's like, come on, man. It's just,
right,
well, you know what? I can't really say that anymore. After this school resource officer, right? Yeah, I can't say that. So now I get it. Now I understand why they wouldn't want the cameras, because if they make one slip up and say the N word, or they look at some woman and say, "Oh, that's a fine,"
right.
oh, you're fired.
Right.
So now, okay, now I get it because of that right there. Look at that. Look at that.
Well, that's because I think, like we just talked about, without going too far down another rabbit hole, is that these words. Where do these people like? I didn't remember anything in the Constitution about words can offend me. They're against the law. Like I've never heard of like the hate speech argument, all that. Words can offend me. If you put your hands on me, you've violated my space. You've done something that's going to cause me to react. You can stand in my face all day long and call me whatever you want to call me. You ain't done nothing to me.
That's true.
So why is it
Well,
there's some obsession with the whole word stuff?
well, I mean, you just said it, Jim. Words have power.
Sure, but they only have the power you give them.
Yes,
You
and
physically touch me, you have pushed force against my body.
oh, okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah,
You
okay,
can yell any word you want, and it's not really it doesn't mean anything until I give it meaning. Now, if you give it meaning to other people, like if you say, the N word with the A, Z, and I in it, like calling somebody that, and everybody runs over and beats that person up, yeah, you can say those words have power, and that's where something gets bad. But really, the crime isn't until somebody's touching them.
right.
So in that aspect, they have power. But even to the people who committed the act, they're the ones that allowed those words to have that power.
Well, that's not true because
No.
just about some time ago, a couple of months ago, somebody, not mentioning any names, was being charged with inciting a riot.
Well, that's garbage. We know that. You know that. I know.
But yeah,
that.
I'm just saying they were being charged.
Right. Of course.
Inciting a riot. So it's just they were using words.
That's what we're complaining about. Since we're so far off the topic, we're complaining about the words. Like, when have words become a chargeable offense?
Wow. I don't know.
Yeah. So back to the real offense of actually police, going into a place where they have no evidence or allegedly have no evidence.
Right.
This is a scenario where if this is true, yeah, somebody needs to get fired.
Yeah. I've said it back then and I stand my ground. Hey, Florida. I stand my ground on that also, like I said, and because I know the levels and of checks and balances we have in that system. No, I'm sorry, somebody messed up, and to me, it costs these someone their life. They have to be held accountable.
Right.
Yeah, they have to.
And you wouldn't think that would be hard to trace.
Right.
You know what I mean? You wouldn't think
if
that was.
Everyone cooperated.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right.
So, if it's all true, which I'm a firm believer in this, the longer we wait and the investigations go, the more we find out the truth about things such as this Breonna Taylor case. So I think I'm going to lean more towards it's the truth. Like I said, I heard something similar early on, how they were saying that they went to the wrong address, and that's when I just no. And that's just going to the wrong address. No. Too many checks and balances, man.
So let me understand you right. Are you saying the information we're hearing now is not true, or you're saying that it's true and there's a lot of corruption or problems?
It's true, and there's a lot of corruption and or problems in our law enforcement community.
So that's where I kind of like, I'm with you, where I'm not, like, I think in my vision of what I'm hearing, or interpretation of what I'm hearing, is just like you said, there's so many checks and balances, you can't believe that this could be corruption.
Right.
Because then you'd almost have to assume that at every level there was some sort of corruption.
Right.
But then again, we can also say that if it's corrupt down the bottom, you can convincingly lie to a judge, get him to sign off, so he could be, not corrupt. I would have to assume, though, that the corruption has to lie somewhere close to the house.
Yeah. But even if there's no corruption, let's say I think you say I see corruption starting to begin once the investigation starts, or someone doesn't want to do an investigation. When you have an issue like this. So when they start to not want to participate or not want to initiate an investigation, that's when I start to lean towards corruption. You get what I'm saying? So it
Oh, you
must
mean
be,
investigation into what happened?
yes, yeah.
Right, right.
Instead
Like
of
because they know
because
the outcome is not going to
yeah,
be
you
favorable.
know how it is, man.
Hmm.
If you support officers, you support them. Plain and simple.
Sure.
Something happens, we'll try to justify any and every way for this what happened to be justifiable,
Right.
right? So my thing is, it's kind of like you said about other things. Why don't we investigate it?
Right.
Investigate it. Cross your T's, dot your I's. Hello.
Right. And I
Have
agree
you ever
with that.
have you ever had a warrant and you get it all the way to get ready to knock down the door, and next thing you know, you put an I in that address and it's not supposed to be there. It's like, damn,
Right.
you
Right.
know. And the other in the address that you have doesn't exist,
Right.
so you gotta have to go all the way back and go before that judge. That's scary, man.
Yeah. Well, and I do believe, like I said, I do support law enforcement, but I also support investigation.
Yeah,
Like I think I don't think that we need to investigate everything. I think when someone is concerned about something, then sure, every investigate warrants it. If nothing else, it solidifies that you did everything right.
right.
It just validates your story or your
Wouldn't that be somewhat what we're saying about body cams?
right. Well,
Yeah,
that's why I said I'm all for it.
yeah,
I think that's why I said, I agree with you because if something's not being looked at least give me a reason why you don't think it's worthy looking at.
right.
If you can't even come up with a legitimate reason, like, a certain election that might have happened, if you're not even going to look at things, then you're clearly telling me that you're afraid of the outcome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or
Because
what the
what?
outcome may be.
Right.
What the chances of it may be. You know what I mean?
Well, I understand that, but I'm going to assume that if you believe that the chances are going to be bad, you probably know
Yeah,
something more than I do.
yeah.
So you wouldn't want to look into it because it'll make the company or whatever the department look bad.
It's kind of like what we're saying now about certain people getting some money now,
Right.
and all the evidence is not out. We don't know everything that happened in this Breonna Taylor case, but
Right.
certain monies are being distributed, and it's like, oh, something must be out there.
Right.
That's not going to be in their favor. So they're going
Well,
to settle
right.
this one.
And that's a good sign too. Like you
Yeah,
said, when people don't want to investigate, it's also a good sign when there's legal settlements, things like that. Those are good clues that
yeah.
because you got money hungry lawyers that are going to fight things to the
Oh yeah, oh
they're
yeah.
not going to stop unless they're going to win. So when they don't win,
Mm.
there's a very good chance that there's some cover up here. But
Yeah,
I still want to not go the route of vilifying the entire process, even though I do remember a town. I don't know if it was in Oklahoma or something like that. I think I might have brought this up before, but there was like a judge and a sheriff or something, and they were brothers or something. They were running some ring. You remember that? Like they were doing something illegal that was getting people in trouble, and they were working with each other because they were related.
oh no, I don't remember that one.
Yeah, I remember reading something about it. Maybe if anybody listening to this knows what I'm talking about, I'm not going to go back and search it up. But what I'm getting at is the practicality of it is low, but it is possible that there is a scandal or corruption on both levels, like the judge and the police department. And
Mm.
it's just like you said, though. There's so many other avenues. Like, what about the police doing the raid? Did they see the warrant, or were they just following orders? Did they question why are we not wearing
Right,
body cams? You know what I mean? Did they get
right,
any briefing on what's in there, what to find? Did
right,
they get pissed off when they got shot and they were there with no evidence? Like,
right, right.
there has to be something where somebody's speaking up, or this does look like a huge corruption,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
or there's something completely that we still don't know, and that's going to be the ultimate truth. I don't
Yep.
know.
My thing is working in the prison system. Whenever you have to, as we say, go in and get an inmate, and to get him out of the cell, and he's refusing to come out.
Right.
The last person in that lineup has the camera,
Right.
so they can record everything, and you know what I mean. And
Yep.
that way, he can't sue, or he can try to sue, but he's not going to win anything. Or they're not going to win anything because everything's recorded, and they were on the up and up. It protects the officers.
Right.
Yeah,
And I love, like I said, I love that idea. Pre-cancel culture. Pre-cancel culture, I'm totally fully supportive of it. now that these ridiculous whatever this phenom is with canceling everybody for any little thing, even though you probably did it yourself sitting behind your keyboard, that's where now they're creating a hostile kind of opinion toward cameras now, which I
Right.
still support them. But if you're going to ask people to be perfect citizens, perfect, behavior, you can still do your job effectively without being a perfect person.
No,
You
don't.
don't think so?
No, I don't agree with that. You're
I'm going to
giving
ask your wife. I'm going to ask your wife.
no,
Do
no,
you
no. The
behave the
reason why I
same way
say
at
that,
home?
no. The reason why I say that is because you're being trusted to protect and assist, defend people out there, our fellow citizens, right? So
Right.
there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. And I'm gonna say it's the same thing with a doctor. You have these people's lives in your hand. So if you have a alcohol problem, hey, sorry, you go get, you need to go get some help because it's a problem. So if somebody's drunk and they're on the job, whether it's a doctor or a police officer, do we give them a pass? They're human. You know
Well,
what I mean?
well, yeah, I think you're taking it to
No,
where
I'm
I'm
not.
saying it's on the job. Like you can be a doctor with an alcohol problem and not be drunk doing surgery.
Yo, yeah,
Like
I got that. It's a lot
you
of them
can
out there, right?
you can
And I
go home
got
and
that.
beat your wife and be an abuser and have it have no effect on your job. So that means you've got a problem, but it doesn't affect your job. It may affect you as a human being, but when it crosses over to your job, then you got a problem.
Yeah,
Like,
you talking about the officer?
well, I'm just talking about anybody in general.
Okay.
Like, if I held people accountable for their personal lives when their work, I mean, I could do that to anybody, to the cashier at McDonald's. You know what
No,
I
what
mean?
I'm saying was when we start using that, they're human, they're gonna make mistakes. Okay, where does that stop though?
Oh no, no, no. I'm not saying that they're excused from their conduct while
Okay,
working.
okay,
That is not my stance at all. I'm
okay.
saying cancel culture doesn't care about working or not. Cancel culture is going after people from 20 years ago, a tweet they made when they were 14 years old, even if Twitter didn't exist back
I'm about
then.
to say what?
Yeah. So it's going back to then, acting like what you said in the backyard to the neighbor kid is affecting your life today.
Or the note you left in high school.
Right. Or
Yeah,
you're right. So
yeah.
that's where I'm saying it's a problem. And that's what's
Okay.
creating a lot more resistance now to anything.
Right.
So if you want the tool to work and you want the tool to be effective to police the police or in any profession, a lot of places have cameras and stuff set up to keep people honest. If you want that tool to work, you got to leave people alone in their private lives.
I agree.
So that's where I said this is dangerous from the cancel culture phenom that's going on right now. So,
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's like if a police officer is drunk and a doctor is drunk and they're both in a bar, no one's working.
right. Who
Why are you
cares?
gonna go out and someone gets hurt or whatever? Why are you gonna go after their job?
Right.
Because if Jim and I are in a bar and we get into a fight, no one cares.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Now,
they're
we get
just
on a fight right here,
right.
that's different.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we'd have to fire
Yeah.
each other.
Yep. Jim is bad or Mike is bad. I wonder where they work. Do the research. Now they're
Right.
gonna go after our employment. This
Right.
is
And they're doing that. They're doing
yeah,
like teachers, professors.
yeah,
Like, do you realize the person you work for, he wrote a bad tweet back in
right.
1842 on a wooden scribe? Like, what?
Hey, isn't that like a couple of guys who we have on the show? They have to be careful about what they
Right.
say because of where they're
Sure.
employed and everything. Yeah, it's the same thing.
And it's sad. It's sad
Yeah,
that they can't have a life outside their job. And you'd think that I'm sure that there's an argument to be made that your character can bleed into your profession. Like there's definitely an
yeah,
argument, but you have to also consider that some people value their professions, value their integrity,
mm-hmm.
that they can still go to work and not do that.
Right.
We saw that with what Kavanaugh. Didn't they try to make a big deal out of Kavanaugh's high school, which would
Yeah,
like so that's going to make him a bad judge, even though for the last even though I think now he is a bad judge, but for the last 30 years he's been a judge. So you're going to
right,
basically say that high school thing that you can't even prove justifies the last 30 years where he hasn't been a bad judge.
right.
So I think that stuff needs to be called out, and these
Mm-hmm.
people, and I really believe that those people need to be prosecuted. I
Really?
think you turn the table and you start calling out and prosecuting people making accusations about nothing that has nothing to do with people's lives, professional lives. I think they need to suffer some sort of consequence for that.
Do I think they should suffer some kind of consequence? Yeah, but what? I don't know.
Well, I mean, it could be what are they? Well, I mean, I guess the laws for what's the word I'm looking for when you destroy somebody's character? Why is it defamation?
No,
Like
okay.
for defamation laws, like that stuff's hard to prove. I think they should make that easier to prove. And then people will stay out of people's business and they would just report what's on the scene,
Yeah.
what's happening in the store. And I don't know if you saw it. I came across a link with, what was it, Bath and Body Works or whatever. You seen that with the people fighting in there?
I didn't click on that link. I seen it was a fight, right? I
Yeah,
didn't
well,
get to see the fight.
I
Yeah.
clicked on the article and I went and watched the full length
Hmm.
clip because I know better than watching short little clips of
Right.
things. So I went and watched the full length thing. And that's an interesting thing because that's what I'm saying is when you look at that, these are employees.
Mm.
So these employees are fighting with customers, and I understand like there's a point where you don't get beat up. Like if somebody's throwing a punch at me, I don't care where I'm working, I'm getting involved.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if you are the one throwing the first punch or the initiating the contact, just because you want to push somebody away or whatever, you got a problem.
Yeah.
So,
I
and
agree.
that's why I said in that scenario you should be accountable. But now if you go look at these people thing and say, oh well, they've been a bully in high school and this and that, they shouldn't be working there. Like, come on,
Yeah.
that means nobody in prison would ever get a job
Yeah, that's true.
because their history is it's there, it's all over. Even if they were falsely imprisoned, they
Yep.
shouldn't get a job because they were a convict.
Yep.
And so these cancel culture people, that's the mentality they deal with.
You have that ex-con stigma.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And so you'd be canceled because obviously it's easy to figure out, oh, you did time, and I don't see that I don't see that as relevant because you're telling me that people can't go in there and reform. You're telling me they can't, pay their price and be like, I'm never doing that again. You're
Yeah. So
taking that option off the table.
yeah, yeah, that's a part of paying the price. You lock them up for 10 years, and now they're an ex-con, a felon,
Yeah.
and they can't get decent employment.
Yeah. And I'll give a personal shout out to somebody I know who served some time and, he's changed his life. You know
Mm.
what I mean? He's a good man. He's, like I don't see I'd let him be my neighbor. He could work for me. Like,
Right.
but that stigma alone is what the cancel culture is all about.
And that
And
was
it's
a
just
shout out to
terrible.
who?
To the guy who, I'm talking about. I don't
Oh,
know if
okay.
he wanted me to say his name or nothing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What's the
So
name again? No.
yeah, does that remind you? I'm not gonna tell anybody where I live, but up here, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Love
heard
you,
me
man. Love you.
that.
So, all right, we want to pull the pin on this because,
Yeah, that's cool to pin. You got the updates, and some people being charged accordingly. So
yeah, we'll
the,
we'll
the system is working.
yeah we'll follow through, and hopefully, we won't have a reason to doubt the system and the recourse that should be
Right.
following, and that may be bringing more attention to something I don't want to believe is true.
Yep.
So, all right, do you want to? You got something you want to pull the pin on, or you want
No,
to?
I want to talk about COVID for a second.
Oh, you okay?
You got a
You want
COVID
to pull the
update?
pin on COVID?
No, not yet.
All right.
Not yet. They got the stimulus bill just went through, so I don't want to pull the pin yet.
Right. Well, we could talk about that on another episode.
Okay. Yeah. But did you see how that one from Pfizer? They say it's a Brazilian variant of COVID, and the vaccine from Pfizer is protecting people against it. I thought that was interesting. You know why?
Wow.
I didn't even know it was a Brazilian variant.
Right, and I was just
Yeah.
thinking maybe there wasn't. Maybe there isn't. Maybe this is Pfizer saying, "Hey, you really got to buy our stuff because we didn't just dupe you.
Yeah. So I was like, when was
Thanks for all that billions
Yeah.
of dollars to create this miracle vaccine in a
Yeah.
record time. It really works, though. We
Yeah.
promise you, because we stopped the Brazilian variant."
And we're gonna get right back on curing cancer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Donate now.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, I'm going to do this anyway because I'm going to do the person of the week, and I'm going to give me a shout out.
All
I'm gonna
right.
shout out my cousin.
Your
Me and my cousin go way back.
Way
Like,
back.
way back. Not only way back, we have a common interest,
Oh, right.
and
What's that?
that's hockey. Because look,
Oh, okay.
he was a black
Look
guy
at
in
that.
hockey. Oh,
Look
was
at
there more
that.
to it than that?
Look at that.
Look at that. You know what's bad about this? I want everybody to know that this book, you know what's so hard to find that book? Because there's so many titles, Black Ice. I'm gonna tell my cousin that he needs to come up with a different name.
Yeah.
Because they're stealing his name and getting all his attention. So
That's
nobody's
right.
finding his book.
Yeah.
So that's
there
what I
you
want to
go.
give a shout out to.
There you go. What's your cousin's name?
Val James. Val James, just like my first name, James. That's how we're related.
I appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it.
All right. Funny. And on that note, I'm going to get back in touch with my cousin, maybe get me an autograph.
Yeah, there you go.
And until then, till the next time, hope you guys tune in again. Hope you enjoy what we got here. Hope you come back. Hope you get involved. Go to the website, pullthepinalready.com. Get involved, contact us, get on the show. And until the next time, Godspeed.
And pullthepinalready.com.
Thanks for joining us here at Pull the Pin Already. We hope you had as much fun as we did. If you like what we do, go ahead and hit that like button and share this video with a friend. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you don't miss out on any of our future episodes. But most importantly, leave a comment below. Let us know if you agree or disagree with our opinions. Hope to see you here next time on Pull the Pin Already.